Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays, where we talk about all things wellness and exactly what it means to be well. Today, I am here with Valarie and Nelson, who are avid runners, and they're going to be sharing their experiences with running, training for marathons, and giving us tips and advice for anybody who would like to start running. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. We are not dietitians or nutritionists, we are just sharing our experiences. We are going to dive into the interview questions and then we're going to play a really quick game of true or false. Nelson, can you tell me about what kind of running you do and why you started doing it?
I'm currently doing long distance running. And the reason why I do this is it makes me happy and I want to motivate people, motivate my wife and my daughter, and just be a positive influence and letting them see how hard I can do.
Absolutely.
I'm semi-retired from running, but I'm getting back into it.
Okay.
I am doing it mostly for the fun of scenery and seeing different things in different places. I'm currently traveling with a friend who's doing a half marathon. I've done several full marathons, but have kind of backed out of that a little bit.
So as you're getting back into it, you're just like starting slow.
Yeah.
So a half would be slow for you because you've done
Well,
marathon.
yes,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay.
Slow.
So taking your time and easing back into it. Yeah. So you do marathons, and Nelson, you do marathons, and so you're able to tell us a little bit about that training process, recovery, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So Nelson, what motivates you to keep running being a part of your lifestyle?
Positive atmosphere. I really enjoy doing it right now. I'm 49, I turned 50 this year. Now, I used to say I turn 50 next year, but I turned 50 now. I'm in the best shape of my life, and I'm in the headspace that I want to push myself as far as I can go. I'm midway there. I do have like a really strong, long goal. But I'm halfway there.
Okay. So. Absolutely. And how about you, Valarie? What keeps you motivated?
For me, it's the camaraderie. I have a very strong core group of friends that I met in a running group that I used to be the chapter leader of.
Oh.
And so we just kind of keep each other accountable and motivated and like, hey, let's go do, a run this day and this time. Okay. And it's all about like just the time with the friends. Yeah. It's less about like the time on our feet. It's more about just getting together.
I've got goals that I want to accomplish. Honestly, a lot of times I do listen to music when I'm running, when I'm training. What I have adopted recently is that when I'm running races, I don't listen to any music, and the purpose for that is that people listening to music, it's an artificial stimulant. What's the your endorphins. You know what I mean? Like you get a good song in and like it increases your heart rate. Since I focus on long distance running, I I try to really make sure that I'm keeping my heart rate at a certain point. It's almost as important as my heart rate as it is my pace. I'm not even like, I look at my heart rate more than that. So I can make adjustments. So I think about my daughter, I think about my wife. I honestly, I try very hard not to think about work.
When you're in the middle of a run, what keeps you motivated when you're feeling tired?
Um, Again, it's the social aspect. So it's the friends that I'm running with. I'm usually never running alone. If I am alone, it is difficult. So it's always good to have a friend with you, even if it's just one, and the conversation starts flowing, and you're talking about what are we going to eat after this. Like sometimes it's just having that person, and if you don't have anybody with you, maybe having somebody on the phone, just somebody to talk to. I do like listening to music if I happen to be by myself.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's the right playlist.
Right.
And for me, it's a lot about scenery. I do like to change it up and go to different places and see different places. And it's like, oh, well, I wonder if I can make it that far. What's around that corner there?
Okay. So then you kind of like give yourself little destinations to hit, little milestones.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see like, okay, well, what's around that corner? What's down that street? I've never been that far before. I wonder what's down that street.
Okay.
So it's
That makes
about
sense.
like seeing and doing like different things.
Yeah.
And
So you make it fun.
Yeah,
You make it a fun experience.
for sure.
Yeah. Sure. Do you curate your playlist when you're running, or do you just keep it random?
Well, I don't use the playlist that often, but I do like to keep it random when I do. But I try to keep it to be a certain genre or like a certain cadence of a playlist.
Okay.
That way I don't have to worry about there being something that's like too slow or something like that. But the reason I like it random is because I don't like the monotony of the same thing, like the same song after the other song, and I just want to keep
when it's a playlist and you already know what's coming up
exactly.
Next. Even if you hit shuffle, like if you know the playlist, you know the song.
Exactly, and I know what might be coming next or what's in the playlist. So I just like I like to figure out like what's down that street or what's around that corner. I don't like to know what's coming up next on the playlist either.
Okay.
It consists of 88 songs.
Okay.
And it's just random.
Yeah.
You know?
And all like high upbeat, high tempo?
Yeah. For the most part, I honestly been throwing some R&B in. So,
have you? Okay.
You know, Babyface.
Oh, okay.
2 occasions.
Oh, so is that your what do they call it, like your cool down music, or you just like
whenever it comes on it, I still get the same. I'm starting to like because I've got a Spotify account, so and I've kind of been pulling like all like metal music and stuff like that too. But like I also still have my Apple iTunes account that I've got like that's my history. You know what I mean? So sometimes I will switch over to that, and if I catch a song that I haven't listened to in a long time, something like that, like, I'm gonna throw that to Spotify, search it, drop it in there, and stuff like that. So I'm in that process of wanting to like drop in some of the stuff like Anita Baker, something like that.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Oh, I like your playlist. You might have to send me that. I want to talk about when you first started your running journey. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so when my daughter stopped cheerleading in school, there was like all this extra time that I had and I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, I don't like to sit still, and my husband gets mad at me about this all the time because he's like, "Will you just sit down and watch a movie?" And I don't like to sit still. So I'm like, what am I going to do with myself? And I had started seeing a lot of those like fun runs, like the Wipeout Run and the Color Run, and they're all just 5Ks, and I'm like, it's just a 5K, so let me see if I can do that. Those look fun. Let me try to sign up for those, especially if it's like an obstacle course run. Those are a lot of fun. So I started doing like couch to 5K to get myself running. So there would be a certain interval of running and an interval of walking, and you just go back and forth. And I still to this day will interval run. That's how I keep myself like from getting too wiped out and too tired.
Would you recommend, just really quickly, would you recommend that for somebody getting started, like doing an interval?
100%. Absolutely.
Okay, so we have opposing thoughts on this. I love it. So we're gonna finish up with Val, and then we're gonna dive into why your face just did that now. So I want to know. All right, Val, continue. Let me know.
So I started with that app, and I would do the Couch to 5K app so that I could do those the obstacle runs, and just because they looked fun. And I was never a runner, never wanted to be a runner. I used to see runners going down the street and be like, that looks like torture. Like, why would they do that to themselves? But then, just to try to have fun with those obstacle courses, I signed up, and then it became a challenge for myself. The next thing that came up is they brought back the Bay Bridge 10K a number of years ago. And I was like, well, that looks cool. I want to do that. Like, who gets to say they ran or walked on the Bay Bridge? Right. Some people don't even like driving over it. And here I am. I want to run over it.
Nelson's like, absolutely not.
But so I didn't trust myself to train myself to get to the 10K mark. And so I joined a local running store called Charm City Run. They were doing a training series for it. And then I ended up meeting some people, and then that's where it all just went and skyrocketed, because once you meet people with the same mindset, the same goals, and the same motivations, then you kind of get them together and you hold each other accountable. Absolutely. And then next thing you know, we're signing up for half marathons and full marathons and just keeping it together like that.
I love it.
Nelson's going to tell us why not
to do the interval. Okay.
So I prefer running long distance.
Okay.
So I'm like, interval training is really to help you adjust, get your speed up and run fast right there. Like for me, the races that I'm running, I'm typically like right now, what I'm focusing on dialing myself into this next race is between 11 and 12-minute pace running. My walking pace, I want that to be about 14 or 15 minutes, because I actually am training to like walk as well, because, I'm not an elite athlete. I'm not going to run 100 miles. It's just, the average person, is not running 100 miles. There will be running and walking involved. And like my plan is that once I get to that point of run walking, it's first half mile. I'm running from 0.51 to 0.75. I'm walking, and then 0.76 to that final mile. That last quarter, I'm running again, and then I start the pace over again. But I just for me, I'm just not a fan of that because, especially a beginner runner, whether you're running a 4 minute mile or you're running a 25-minute mile, that mile is still the same distance.
Okay.
So why put undue stress on you about like, oh, I got to get faster? Just get finished.
Okay.
I mean, and don't allow yourself to get overwhelmed. Like, oh, I'm not getting faster because you get to a certain point. Happened to me, like, I was, running like 12-minute pace and I got 11, 10. I'm like, right now, like, I mean, I don't really run fast. I run long. So I'm down to like, if I'm running, my 8 miles, I'm running about an 8-minute pace, but I'm not pushing into the sixes and sevens. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So I just, it's just about building, endurance and strength.
Okay.
Because last year I lost 6 pounds of muscle with all my running, and every time I've had an issue out there, it's not been because of my cardio. It's been because of my legs. So now it's been a focus of just getting my legs stronger. But
Okay.
yeah. But everybody's, and again, because we're at two different roads.
Yeah. And the reason that I'm glad you both touched on it is because it's a perspective thing. And I feel like so everybody's different. What works for one person is not going to work for somebody else. There's so many differences as far as like somebody's physical fitness levels or whatever, right? Somebody's mental health. Like if I'm getting out there to run because I think that it might help clear my mind or something like that, then I'm not necessarily trying to go the distance. I'm just trying to make sure that I get out there and be consistent. But then again, if I'm training, then I want to make sure that I'm training the right way. So everybody's going to be at different levels. So different perspective is great.
We'll say this: nobody. It is hard to run. It's hard to do anything exercise. But most of the people that will ever say once they're done, oh, that was terrible. You know what I mean? Like, no, it's you feel better, especially if you have the ability to run in the morning. It sets the tone for the day. That's the positive. That's the positive mind.
I also prefer the morning.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah.
But I want to say too about the perspective is that a lot of people, especially beginning runners, they think that if they have to walk, that they're failing. And that is absolutely not the case. Like you're getting the miles, like you said, a mile is a mile, whether it took you 6 minutes or it took you 20 minutes, you still did a mile and you still did something. So it's not a fail if you have to walk, if you want to walk. For some people prefer to do the walk and run. Some people think that, well, if I don't run straight through, then I'm not really a runner.
Right.
But it's not about that. It's just about getting the miles in.
Yeah.
And what I found with the doing the intervals is that I'm less like spent. When I'm done, I still feel good and I still have a lot of energy. I don't feel like I just like threw it all out there and now I don't have anything left.
Yeah.
Yes.
My number one enemy right now, with everything that I'm doing,
sleep. Yeah, so let's talk about it. So let's talk about sleep and how it affects your ability to run or your endurance.
So I had typically I've got a watch that I utilize and everything like that. It tells me my recovery time and everything like that. I had a terrible night, and this happens to a lot of people, regardless of what race you're running. You're running, whether it's a 5K or it's however long. I mean, the night before is just so important, and people are just so angst. And I had a situation where, like, it never happened before. Like, usually wake up in the morning, the hours are left because I've slept. So this race that I ran, I woke up and I had 43 hours that I needed in recovery. So I must have slept so bad, and it choked out there. Like, I mean, whether you eat, whatever, even eating obviously matters, but like sleep is like, if I don't get a good night's sleep, it's like, it's not going to be good. It's not. The body, we're older, at least for us. The body just doesn't recover as fast. So sleeping is probably the most important part.
I'm so glad you brought that up. And how about your experiences with sleep or lack thereof? Does it affect your ability to run?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. When you're marathon training and stuff like that, like what are some best practices for warming up? Like obviously we're talking about getting the proper amount of sleep.
Yeah.
We can start.
So I'll give you an example. So I took on a race this past summer. I was in Kentucky Mountains. It was 34 miles. It was up and down 5 peaks, turn around, back up and down 5 peaks up towards Camp David. And I did not I did everything I could do wrong, I did wrong. And I to the stretching. So so now I'm so locked in, everything has a system. And actually kind of going back a little bit, touching on what do you think about while you're out there running? I'm thinking about preparing for the next race, and that's what I'm doing right now, getting my food, my consumption, my running. I'm going to need 2 pairs of shoes because you want to change shoes. I need to change socks. You know what I mean? But back to that, is that 15-minute stretch before I run a race. It's 15 minutes. I time it. Not just oh, I'm feeling good this morning. I'm maybe 10 minutes. No, it's 15 minutes. Body squats, RDLs, just I have it's a system that I've
And
done.
then the whole routine is what warms your body up.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
So right now, I ran this morning. So and it was 22 degrees. But I stretched inside. I mean, and just I always say to the people, because I'm getting that a lot right now. How are you doing this? Can you be uncomfortable for 10 minutes? That's the question. Can you be uncomfortable for 10 minutes? If you can be uncomfortable for 10 minutes, then you can run outside. Just got to be uncomfortable. You got to give your body that time to push through.
Yeah, I heard a saying before that sticks with me. Is there's no bad weather, there's bad gear. So as long as you have the right gear to go out there and do the thing, then
yeah, I'm wearing Under Armour cold weather gear.
Yeah, so, tell me
I don't wear any headgear.
Okay.
So I do wear a light. So I do because I'm running at night. Well, it's not. In theory, yes, it's dark. It just hasn't right now daylight 7:25, 7:30. I start running at 7:10. So I've got this 15, 20-minute window. And honestly, I still keep my light on even as it is because it's not really fully light yet because the sun's rising. So right now, what I'm running in is cold weather gear for pants, long sleeves, and I got obviously a pair of shorts on and a t-shirt. So I don't run with any water. And I'm just and that's typically what I've got right now. As it warms up, I do wear less. So
okay, how about you, Belle? What are you wearing?
Under Armour cold gear. I mean, we could probably be a commercial for it. It really is the good stuff.
Okay, all right. So then, as far as running in the winter and making sure that you have the right gear, all right. Talk to me about your mental state as far as being out there. What time is it that you're running?
I start running at 7. So workout is between 6 and 7.
I want to know about your mental state while you're out there during those times.
I would rather run in single digit weather with no wind than run 30 degrees with wind. Wind is absolutely brutal because you're running at a certain pace, but when that wind is coming against you, you feel like you got slugs for life. And
wind is the enemy.
The wind, yes. When I say wind is an enemy, absolutely. Wind is and the thing is, the body just has to work more because it feels like it's doing less, and that's what increases your heart rate. You know what I mean? So, so that's
Absolutely. Val, would you say that when you started running, did it help with your energy or your mindset at all?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that it definitely helps with the energy and just the sense of you're in a better mood because you got something accomplished for the day. If you get up in the morning and get it over with, then you can go through the rest of your day knowing that I did that today, so I can feel a little bit more relaxed because you got that energy out, and then also just in a better mood because
I wanted to start running again. This is I'll call it my second phase. So I'm not gonna go back to what we talked about early 2009, but my second phase kind of I was I unfortunately because work our industry being slower, I found time, and that was my morning because that's again my wife was always saying you got to get up, and I'm like no, I don't want to get up, so but I got up, I listened to her, and it took me some time, but I started running, and then after about 4 miles, I started developing this pain in between my 2 middle toes, and it just kind of continued to persist, and I stopped. Went and run past 4 miles. This is last November, going all the way honestly into February and March, and a lady kind of just so I run alone, but I do like at the gym. She works part-time at the Charm City Run in Frederick. Has been very instrumental with my success with running. She's like, why don't you come in? Let's look at your shoes. You know what I mean? I was wearing a pair of shoes that I thought like were fine, but I switched shoes. So I decided to. I'm like, you know what? And I had this. I had this now with everything. I ran through the pain. I ran through 4 miles because I was like, you know what? Let me run through it. Let me just see, like, will it stop? Okay. And it stopped. Wow. So that's kind of how my thing is now. Like when if something starts kind of feeling like a little, yeah, I give it 1 mile. If I don't work through it, then I stop. Okay. But usually I'm able to run through everything. So far I've been fortunate. My hip, my toes, my knee. Yeah,
So you think just overall the running itself it helped to strengthen your mindset?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I truly like 2024 for me was positive energy and not allowing negative energy. Like what can I control and what I can't control.
Yeah.
And I allowed for too long negative energy to control my mood. And but I can't do anything. Like it's like what can I control and what I can't. And what I can control is running, and this is why I think about my family, and that's the positive mindset I have. I had to let that go because that was consuming me in a negative way. So that's been also part of my success in adopting with the running because I've been fortunate. Some people like they might want to get out there and then get hurt or immediately and just like they can stop, you know. So I am fortunate that like my feet aren't jacked up. Yeah. And some people got jacked up feet. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sorry. But they just or they got like flat footed, like people in the military. Like you're flat footed, you can't be in the military. Just like like there's just so many factors that go into the ability to be able to run. Yeah. So I always just say, just start off with what you got. You know?
I'm sure so many people watching can appreciate that. But how about you with injuries? Have you faced any injuries?
Well, that's kind of why I said I'm semi-retired because I struggled with a hamstring issue for the longest time, and I went and had dry needling done, and I saw physical therapy, and then finally I decided like, well, if I just don't run, it doesn't hurt, so I'll just stop running.
Okay.
But then the friends are like, come on, you need to get back into it with us and sign up for this race with me, and so I've been slowly like getting myself back out there.
So are you struggling with it now, or is it?
So far, so good.
Advice for somebody who wants to make running an everyday part of their life.
I recommend obviously shoes. Shoes are like paramount. Your success will be determined by your level of commitment.
That's solid, Nelson. Make sure that you take your footwear seriously and get fitted for the proper shoes. Yeah. Perfect. All right, Val, how about you? What's your biggest piece of advice?
You can't say enough about the shoes. The shoes are very important. You have to have trail shoes if you're running in dirt, and you have to have street shoes if you're running on the street or the Charm City Run does a good job of like letting you test out different ones, and they have a treadmill in the store that you can test it out for a little bit. Sometimes there's stores that will let you bring them back after 15 days if you if you have too much hurt and stuff like that. So it is important, and you don't want to wear your shoes past a certain amount of miles. Like once you've worn them and you've got like 200 or 300 miles on them, you have to switch them out because the tread. Okay. But also, if you don't know where to start, like I said earlier, which Nelson doesn't like, but the app that I used to get started in the very, very beginning was called Couch to 5K, and it would have you like run for 30 seconds, walk for 30 seconds, and then you just build up the stamina, more and more. Okay.
Nelson, just share with everybody any final thoughts that you have, any experiences, any more tips, anything like that.
Yeah. Diet, like right now where I am with like all my training, like the natural running only lasts so long. Like I've got to like focus on diet because basically, if you can't get your stomach right, I don't care what kind of athlete you are. You could be like a couch athlete or an elite athlete. When you're out there and you can't what you're consuming your body doesn't agree with that. It's a recipe for disaster. So.
Yeah. All right, great. How about you, Val? Any final thoughts?
My final thought is don't be hard on yourself. If things aren't working out the way that you want them to be, or if you're not reaching a goal as quick as you think you should be reaching that goal, I'm all about the journey and just having fun with it.
True or false? what you eat matters when you're running.
True.
True.
True or false? You have to be in shape before you start running.
No.
False.
True or false? When you're starting out running, you should start with sprints.
False.
Okay.
It's a good way to get injured.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. True or false? Running takes too much effort.
False.
Okay.
Think about that one.
Too much effort, I'd say false, but it does take some effort.
It does take some effort, but not too much effort to get up there and just try it out, right?
Everybody's got their own, everybody's got their own pace. You know what I mean? For me, I had this race that I did everything wrong in July, came in last place, but you know what? I finished it 9.5 hours.
That's all
Actually, 9 hours and 29 minutes. I was 30 seconds away from being DNF, but you know what? I finished it. I was the last one to come in.
What's DNF?
DNF did not finish.
Oh, okay.
But of this race, a third of the people dropped out. So even though I came in last place, I did finish. Yeah. And I had 30 seconds.
That was great. This was so great. And I got so much from this, and I'm sure everybody else will as well. Guys, if anybody sees you here in the hallway, can they stop you and ask you running questions?
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm in the midpoint right now. Like, my goal is 200. I want to get to a 200-mile race.
Okay.
So that's next year. So I got.
Now you're
right now it's kind of like it's a moving level. Like, all right, so I've done this. Now I'm at the 100. I need to complete the 100 before I can move on.
Guys, this was great. Thank you so much. All right, and everybody out there, be well.